Welcome to Sabotage Games. Today we are doing a new series on my channel called RaceCraft Academy. Now if you're new around here, or if this is your first video, here's a little bit of context before we get into the analysis. Now I'm not here claiming to be the quickest driver out there, but I've spent years competing at a high level in UK karting. This includes racing alongside drivers who went on to become Formula 1 drivers. Now that experience taught me a lot, and often the hard way. And with this new series RaceCraft Academy, this is where I break down those lessons to help you refine your racecraft with real world insight. Today we're taking a look at a viewer submitted race, analysing what worked and what didn't. So let's get straight into it. In today's RaceCraft Academy session, we're reviewing a race submitted by Iscu Leanu. Now as always, the aim here isn't to criticise or focus on mistakes, it's to give constructive, actionable feedback that generally helps you develop as a driver. For this analysis, we'll be using a simple structure. I'll break down one positive and then one area to improve, and then we'll alternate like that throughout the video. This lets us highlight what's working well, while immediately showing how each strength can be built on, and how each weakness can be corrected. It keeps the feedback balanced, clear, and focused on progression, not negativity. And finally, before we jump in, if you're new to sim racing, make sure you drop a comment below telling me one area you think you can improve after watching this breakdown. And if you're more of an experienced driver, feel free to share your own insights or advice. It helps newer drivers learn from multiple perspectives and strengthens the community. Now, with that said, let's take a look at the footage and start with our first positive. Let's start with the first positive. One thing Iscu Leanu does really well is carrying good speed through the corners. The lines are genuinely confident and he's clearly comfortable committing to the turning. Now that is a strong foundation. Maintaining minimum speed is one of the biggest indicators of long-term pace. This shows two key things: confidence in the car's grip, and a good understanding of how much speed can realistically be rolled through mid-corner. For newer drivers, this is usually one of the hardest skills to build, so having this already in place gives him a solid platform to improve on. The goal now is refining the commitment so the speed is carried smoothly and consistently, rather than occasionally over or under committing. Now, onto the first area to work on, and this is braking points. There's a little bit of inconsistency on entry, sometimes braking slightly too early, other times a touch too late. Dialing in a fixed reference point will make the entries more predictable, and when the entry is more predictable, it becomes more consistent. The exits naturally become more stable too. It's a straightforward way to gain time and improve your race consistency. The best improvement here is to pick specific reference points. That can be marshal's posts, trackside boards, or even a crack in the tarmac, but not using shadows. The idea is to remove guesswork. Once the braking point is the same every lap, the corner entry becomes predictable, and predictability entries lead to faster, more controlled exits. This is one of the quickest ways to find free lap time without changing driving style drastically. The second positive, Iscu makes smart decisions around overtakes. There's a few moments where a move was possible but not safe, and he backs out instead of forcing it. That's mature racecraft. Knowing when not to send is just as important as knowing when the opportunity is genuinely there. That restraint is a sign of mature racecraft. Many developing drivers feel pressure to dive for every gap, but knowing when not to send it keeps the car in fight and often leads to much easier overtakes a few corners later. This patience is one of the strongest parts of Iscu's driving. For the second area of improvement, this is spatial awareness. There's a few situations where nearby cars aren't fully accounted for, especially on corner exits or when running side by side. A simple way to improve this is by enabling the virtual mirror. It gives a much clearer view of what's happening behind you without relying on only the small car mirrors. I'd strongly recommend turning off look to apex or any automatic camera movement settings. They sound useful, but they actually reduce awareness because the camera moves away from nearby cars at key moments. Keeping the camera static gives a much stronger sense of peripheral positioning, helping you understand where the other cars are and how much space you have to race. The third positive, he strings multiple laps together well. You can see a clear effort to settle into a rhythm and complete the race distance without major drop-off. That level of consistency is something many new drivers struggle with, so it's a strong sign of progression. This is a genuinely impressive trait. Many newer drivers can put together 1 or 2 quick laps, but maintaining the pace over a full race distance is far more difficult. Rhythm, consistency, and mental pacing, these are skills that typically develop much later, so having these already emerging is a huge advantage. And the final area to work on is defensive driving. There are a few moments where a defensive move is made even though the car behind isn't close enough to launch an attack. Unnecessary defending slows you down and hands momentum to the drivers following. Learning when you do need to defend and when you can simply focus on your own line is an important part of race management. So that wraps the first episode of today's RaceCraft Academy breakdown. Hopefully those points gave you a clearer idea of how small decisions add up over the course of a race, and how you can apply the same lessons to your own driving. If you found this useful, let me know in the comments what you're working on your racecraft right now. And if you're a more experienced driver, feel free to add your own advice for newer racers watching. And if you want to be featured for episode 2, you can submit your race footage using the link in the description. Any skill level is welcome. The whole point of the series is to help people progress. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and if you haven't already, check out the video where I give 5 points on breaking down how to overtake in sim racing.